I got my helper here. What's your name?
Charlie.
Charlie. We are going to go plant some cover crop on our beds. This is called sun hemp, and we plant this in the summer because we don't want to garden in the heat when it's like 90 to 100 degrees outside. It's not so fun. So we use this time to better our garden and our soil, and we do that by planting cover crops like sun hemp. And we did this last year in one bed, and I swear that bed produced more food than all the other ones combined. So we're going to do it for all the beds. I have some left over from last year, and I have some that I ordered, some more. And we're just going to spread it out and plant it.
Oh!
First, we need to harvest any remaining crops from the spring and then remove the plants from the beds to make room for the cover crop. This year I only have one lonely mango, almost ready to pick. Not quite. Hoping I get that before the squirrels do. All the rest of the fruit dropped, I don't know why. The chickens love when we throw spent plants to them. They're great recyclers, and we'll use their composted manure to add nutrients back into the soil. Alright, so I know that I'm making the right decision of not growing in the summer because I just had my phone out here to show you guys the process. I don't know if you can see. There's a couple beds here. And my phone shut off because it was too hot. So that explains just about how hot it is right now. It's 93 degrees out. And, you know, I get about 20 minutes of work and I'm just like gassed. I came over to these beds. So these beds are in a separate area of my garden. The rest of them are over there. And I was about to get them prepped for the cover crop for the summer. I do have some sweet potato in there. But I was thinking I might just leave it because these beds I plan on taking out and taking this whole fence system down because it sits behind our play set. And I don't know if you can see, but it's a very short distance here. So when they're swinging, you know, like hitting this back fence. And I never grow in this area anyways. I never grow anything. I should say I don't yield anything really great. Only just because sometimes it's shaded. It's hard to get over here. The fence is broken. So I'm like, let's just take the whole thing out. I'll relocate the beds and work in the beds here that are like way easier to access from my workshop. After all the plants are removed from the beds, I just go through and break up the soil a little and then take out any large chunks of roots. When the beds are ready, I spread the sun hemp seeds pretty thickly throughout all the beds. And then I just go through and work the seeds into the soil with my hands. I'd probably get better germination if I fully covered all the seeds with soil, but this has worked for me well enough in the past, and I'm all about simplicity. Always water your seeds in thoroughly after planting, but I'm being extra generous here since it hasn't rained very much lately. Okay, so that makes 4 beds over here. I left some loofahs in the beds, and I'm hoping that those will climb up this trellis over the summer. And then on this trellis, I have one lowly Seminole pumpkin. I'm hoping that'll make it and climb up, but it doesn't look so great. One thing that's a little different this year is normally by June we start to see at least a rain shower every afternoon. It has not rained in quite some time here though, so That's why I'm watered these beds in really, really well. I'm also going to run the irrigation after just to make sure that all that is running really well. So these germinate, and they'll take about 6 weeks until I chop them down, drop them there, and they're going to pull nutrients from the soil. And then that's why I kind of like leave the leaves as kind of a mulch and let them kind of the soil soak that back up. In this bed, I'm noticing some, I think, root knot nematodes. You can tell by the bumpy roots. I think that may be an issue, although everything in this bed grew really well. Also noticing a plethora of these little, I don't know, centipede things. Usually they're not an issue, but if they kind of start to get, the population gets out of control, I start to feed them to the chickens. I'm going to leave all of the thyme in these beds. That kind of just stays there. And then I do have one more bed out here in the front that still has another as a watermelon left. So I'll leave that until that's ready to pick. It's almost ready. And then I'll do the same thing and turn this bed over. Oh, I also got one tiny, tiny little butternut squash. I think there's one more here. But it's going to get too hot for them anyway, so I'm just going to pull them. All right, so as far as reflections back on this past garden season, a few new things that I tried out. The first one are these little plastic ties that I used for the tomatoes. You kind of just clip them onto the tomato vines and then onto the trellis. I didn't really like these, to be honest. I feel like everyone loves them. I found it really hard to, like, this part was too flexible, and it didn't, of course, it didn't do that on the trellis when I wanted it to. It just kind of was like harder to release and put on and like kind of flimsy. I don't know if that's just the one that I bought or if that's how they all are. I didn't love that. I don't think that I'll use it again. Normally I just use twist ties. I think I'm going to go back to those. The other thing were these copper, so it's like copper wire basically on a dowel, a wooden dowel. I really like these. They're supposed, what is it called? Electric culture or something like that. There's a theory that you put these in the soil and it's supposed to increase your yield, your harvest from the plants. Something about the electricity with the copper wire. I don't know the science behind it, or if there even is a science, if it's just kind of like in my head. I did feel like I got a better yield from these. These ones in particular, though, did not fare very well. They were not very durable. So I may either like make my own or trying to find one that's more durable. Yeah, like a lot of them kind of just like broke in half. And that was literally one season. So I wasn't thrilled with the quality of these specific ones, but I did feel like the yield was better with those. So then the other thing that I did this season that I don't normally do, normally I start my own seedlings from seed. I ran out of time the beginning of the year. Normally the best time to start those for us is around like end of December, beginning of January, depending on, certainly for, peppers and things like that that take a little bit more time. I just got super busy around that time of year and ended up having to buy starts from Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. And they struggled the entire time. I don't know if that's just the way that they were grown or what, maybe the varieties. I tend to, when I'm starting from seed, I try to select varieties that do well in this climate. Even better, any seeds that have been grown in this climate already in Central Florida. So that was another thing that I'm hoping I'm going to have time. I should have time for my fall seedlings to actually start seedlings myself. And those tend to always do much better. Yeah, and then the biggest other factor, which I obviously have no control over, was the fact that we just have not gotten a lot of rain recently. Normally, we're getting by June consistently rain every day around 3 o'clock, just a quick shower in the summer, but that just helps to keep everything moist. Sometimes it kind of trends a little bit too much where we're worrying about kind of diseases and, other pests and things like that are from higher humidity. But we kind of like just are having the opposite where everything is just so dry. Like melons that I grew are really only like that big. Just not great yield from really any of the beds. I could have done better with fertilizing. Normally I fertilize I'll say definitely every other week, but I try to get there every week with just a fish emulsion and a little bit of molasses and just kind of do a quick spray over everything with the hose end sprayer, but I haven't been consistent with that. So anyways, you win some, you lose some. And we're hoping that the fall season is going to be, first of all, it's just nicer to grow in the fall because it's not so hot. That's one of the reasons why in the summer I put that cover crop in. One, I want to improve the soil in our beds, but two, it's like not even fun to garden. Like you can grow certain crops in Central Florida in the summer, but I don't want to be outside very much at all in the summer here because it's just so hot and normally humid, but like not as much this year because of the rain. But yeah, so here's to a better fall and continuing to grow and learn. 1 week later, my sun hemp cover crop has germinated beautifully and we're off to a successful summer season. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content like this. Thanks for spending a part of your day with me, and I'll see you in the next video.